Hi, I hope this finds you well. So, now that you're not in, I'll just take the recordings and then I'll post the recordings on the portal for you to be able to access during your own time. But I hope next week you'll be here so that you can continue with the class. So today I want us to go through drug abuse as a topic, and see or study some of these drugs that are normally abused, and then also see the effects of this drug abuse of each and every drug. And lastly, we'll combine all the effects and see them as one. So we'll first see some of these drugs together with the effects, and then later we'll also see the causes of drug abuse as well as the effects or general effects of drug abuse to whoever is abusing the drugs. So drug abuse can be defined in the following ways. So the first definition, or a general definition, is that drug abuse is one way to define substance abuse, or one way to define this drug abuse is that it's a pattern of behavior where people use mild altering substances to a harmful extent. So you can be using a substance that normally have mild effects to you, but overuse or continued use of this substance will have a result to a harmful effects at the end. So this is a pattern of behavior where these people or people who abuse these drugs normally uses these drugs which have the first have a mild or a moderate altering substance, which have a harmful effect at the end. So we can also define drug abuse as repeated use of the substance in ways that would be considered physically harmful. Repeated or continued use of a substance that would be considered considered physically harmful at the end. Then another definition is the use of substance which impact the ability of the individual to meet their family, social, and work commitments. So this substance may impact or may change your ability, or may even alter your ability to meet your family, your social, your economical commitments that you normally do each and every day. So another definition is continued use of the substance despite evidence that it is leading to difficulties. You know that smoking of cigarettes can lead to lung cancer, but you still smoke, but you still start to smoke. You start fast and then you continue to smoke even if you know it will harm you later. You continue to abuse alcohol even if you know that this alcohol might bring other harmful effects, might expose me to a lot of harm later in life. Then another definition is legal problems due to use of the substance. Then the mild altering substances of these drugs that people can abuse includes, we have alcohol, we have prescription drugs. Yes, the normal drugs that we normally prescribed by a doctor, but when you overuse them, you're abusing drugs. Then we have inhalants, we have stimulants, we have depressants, we have hallucinogens. So you'll find some of these drugs are normally used in a normal way, but when you misuse them, you'll end up abusing them. We also have tobacco, we have crack, we have heroin, we have cocaine, we have bang, and many others abuse you're going to see. These are some of them. So what is the relationship between substance abuse and addiction? So addiction refers to the physical as well as psychological dependence on a substance. You can't really physically, anatomically and physically stay without this drug. You can't survive, or you feel that your body must take this substance for your body to function well. So addiction refers to that.
You are currently the only person in this conference. You are currently the only person in this conference. You are currently the only person in this conference.
So, Bakisa, are you now able to hear me? What of now, Bakisa? Okay. So, as I was saying, I'm still on the introductory part. So, I've not gone very far. Um, which was on. So, the next drug that I want us to go through is heroin. The next drug that I want us to go through is heroin, which is also known as dope, smack, or even horse. And the effect of heroin intoxication includes drowsiness, pressure, and slowed breathing. So majority of these people will abuse these drugs because of this reason, pleasure. But it also has other effects such as drowsiness or even slowed breathing. And withdrawal symptoms of these drugs includes vomiting, abdominal cramps. We also have diarrhea, confusion, aches, and even sweating. So those are some of the withdrawal symptoms that a person may be or may suffer from once they abuse the drug. Then overdose may result in decreased breathing to the point of stopped breathing and even death. So when you overuse this drug, it will no longer cause only the drowsiness and slowed breathing, but it can cause also decreased breathing at a point when you're not able to breathe at all. It normally affects the respiratory system. So it will constrict the respiratory tract such that you're not able even to breathe well. And what happens when you don't have enough oxygen in your blood? Definitely you'll die because your major organs need a lot of energy. And remember, oxygen is normally used in the metabolism or in the breakdown of food in order to give energy to the body. So because heroin is usually injected, often the dirty needles use of the drug can trigger other health complications such as destruction of the heart valves because of the infections that comes with this inject these dirty needles that are normally used to inject these individuals, tetanus, botulism because of Clostridium botulism infections, and other infections such as HIV and AIDS and hepatitis that are normally passed from one person to the other through blood. And this blood will be passed through these dirty needles. So it's not only that this drug will cause these direct harmful effects, it can also cause indirect harmful effects such as tetanus, such as heart infections, such as Clostridium botulinum infection, and other infections such as hepatitis and HIV and AIDS. So you might find these individuals who abuse these drugs suffering from a lot of infections, not knowing that these infections are brought about by this the injecting needles that they normally use or share among their friends when they're abusing these drugs. Then another type of drug that is normally misused is methamphetamines, also known as meth, crank, ice, speed, or even crystal, and it is a powerful stimulant that increases alertness, decreases appetite, and give a sensation of pleasure. So people will abuse this drug because it increases some alertness. Maybe they want to drive for a very long time. They want to lose some appetite. They want to lose some kilos. Some of them will abuse this drug because it normally stimulates their moods. So the drug can be either injected, can also be snorted, can also be smoked, or even eaten or swallowed. It shares many of the same toxic effects such as cocaine, which normally attack the major organs in the blood or in the body, which includes hearts, which also includes the other organs such as kidneys, other organs such as lungs, which are very vital organs that are needed by the blood or by the body. You can't survive without a kidney. You can't survive without a lung. You can't survive without a heart. You can't survive without your brain. So this meth, let me just call it meth, causes a lot of these harmful effects. Some of these withdrawal symptoms that people faces when they stop using the drug include depression, abdominal cramps, and increased appetite. This will increase appetite when you withdraw, but when you were using it, it normally decreases the appetite. So other long-term effects will include paranoia, hallucinations, seeing things that are not there, weight loss because of the decreased appetite, destruction of the teeth because of the decreased appetite, where you're not you're not consuming food, and also the meth has some effect on the teeth as well as the heart damage, as well as other organs that are major in the body. The fourth type of drug that is normally abused is anabolic steroids, which is majorly abused by bodybuilders because anabolic steroids, they normally slow down metabolism such that your body uses small amount of food that you normally consume. So majority of that food will be geared or will be directed to build your body. So this group of drugs includes testosterone, which is a natural male hormone, and it also includes, and this hormone is normally the one that is responsible for building muscles in men, as well as breaking the voices, and as well as many other things. But here, it is normally used in order to build the muscles of these men. So once they overuse this drug to increase the muscle mass, or to increase the volume of the mass they have, or the volume of the muscles they have, or even improve performance, they might face a lot of these harmful effects. And these harmful effects include mental health effects. They might be affected mentally, dependence, or they might become addicted to this drug. They must have some psychological issues, mood problems, and develop other kind of drug abuse. They may also be, due to this addiction, they might be forced to start to abuse other drugs in order to counteract the harmful effects of the anabolic steroids. Then the fifth drug or drugs category of drugs is club drugs that are normally used in clubs or rave parties. And these drugs include number one, it's still loading, we'll have to give it some time. So number one is ecstasy, also called as MDMA, EX, E-pills, Adam, or SDP, sorry. And this is a stimulant and hallucinogen used to improve mood and to maintain energy, often for all night dance parties. So some people, because they want to be awake all night, they want to have energy to dance all night through, they might be tempted to use this ecstasy, which is a hallucinogen. It will cause you to hallucinate and a stimulant at the same time. So it may also have some other effects such as high fevers to the point of inducing a seizure. So high fevers is also accompanied by contraction of muscles, and this contraction of muscles may be very severe such that you might develop some seizure. And what is the effect of seizure? Seizure can even cause you to have a heart attack, because once the muscles are very contracting at a very faster rate, you might have some issues due to that. Then long-term use may cause damage to the brain, or even affect the brain ability to regulate sleep, pain, memory, and even emotions. So the normal use or the normal function of the brain includes regulate some function of the body, regulate how you sleep, regulate even how you feel pain. It also causes you to lose some memory and also have some emotional problems. You will have some irrational behavior, you'll have some sleeping problems, you'll not even sometimes feel pain, and even memory loss. What is the effect of not feeling pain? When you're cut and you're not feeling pain, it means that maybe you'll not even notice that you're cut, and you might end up bleeding a lot or hemorrhaging, which may also have some effects on you. Another type of drug is GHB, also called liquid ecstasy, G, and blue nitro. It is normally, it was once sold at health food stores. And the effects of this drug is related to the dosage that you're using. So the amount that you're using will determine the symptoms or the harmful effects that you will face. Effects range from mild relaxation to coma or death. And it is often used as a date rape drug because it is tasteless, colorless, and acts as a powerful sedative. So the michele that you normally hear that aliwekewa mchele is GHB is one of them, because you can't taste it, you can't see it, but it can cause you to have some sedative effect. You'll find yourself sleeping, or you find yourself unconscious due to this GHB. And this is why people are robbed easily when we use this GHB, because they will just put it in your drink, and then once you're knocked up, then they can either rape you or even take from you. Then another type of drug is rohypnol, also called Lufis or Roche. And this is another sedative that has been used as a date rape drug. And effects include low blood pressure, dizziness, abdominal cramps, confusion, and even impaired memory. So this is also another drug that is also a date rape drug that is normally used in clubs when someone wants to rape maybe a female or even a male for that matter. They may put these drugs into their drinks, and once they faint or they get unconscious, they can do whatever they want to do with these individuals, because this individual will either be diesel, have some dizziness, are confused, they don't know what is happening. Memory. And they might not even remember what really happened to them. So a minute, please. I work on this slide. If you seem to go to the next slide, let me see what the problem might be. So the next drug that is normally usually abused So the next drug is ketamine, also called special K or K, and this is an anesthetic and can be taken either orally or injected. It will cost you, the drug that is normally used in hospitals, I'm just using that as an example, in order for you to be maybe stitched, or even in order for you to go to the theater, such that you're not feeling, the nerves are like inactivated, such that you can't feel any pain when you're injected, when you're cut or done anything on that part that have been numbed. So this is also an anesthesia that can be either taken orally or injected. Ketamine can impair memory and attention. It does not only affect the numbness or ability of your nerve to function well, but it will also impair your brain function in terms of memory and attention. High doses can cause amnesia, paranoia, and hallucination, depression, and difficulty breathing. So as you can see, the first four, they are effects on the brain. So it will target the brain first. And then another effect is difficulty breathing. It will affect your respiratory system. So this normally causes those effects. An example of this ketamine is not an example, is another example of another drug that is normally abused in clubs, and it is LSD, also called acid, microdot, and mushrooms, also called shrooms and magic mushrooms, peyote, batons, popularly in the 1960s, and they have been revived in our clubs now. So the main effect of the two is that they normally cause hallucinations, numbness, nausea, and increased heart rate. So as you can see, still the two have a lot of effects because they will affect how your brain function. They'll affect how you view things or how even you reason. They'll cause numbness, they'll cause nausea, they can also have effect on the heart, that your heart will really have a high heart rate. So long-term effects includes unwanted flashbacks and psychosis, which includes hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, and even mood disturbances. You'll have mood issues, you have a lot of paranoia, you'll be like delusional, you'll hallucinate. All this also referred to as psychosis. So the last club drugs include PCP, also known as angel dust, hog, lovey, or even lab boat. And it is a powerful anesthesia used in veterinary medicine. This is used on animals, but you still find people using on other people or even themselves. Its effects are similar to ketamine, but often stronger because these anesthetic effects are so strong that you can break your arm but not even feeling it any pain. So when you are under the effects of these drugs. So usually tobacco and marijuana cigarettes are dipped into PCP and then smoked. So you'll find people abusing both tobacco, marijuana, as well as cigars together with PCP. And remember, this PCP has a lot of effects because once you numb yourself and you numb yourself continuously, definitely will affect your body because you're affecting your nervous system. So your nervous system, which normally transmit messages from your brain to the other organs, when they are affected, definitely the other organs will also be affected. So those are some of the drugs that are normally abused in clubs as well as in other places. So let's now look what are the physical effects of this drug abuse. So as we have already seen, like in some of these drugs, they will have some effects on organ damage. They will damage your organs. And remember, there's some organs that you can't live without. You can't live without your brain. You can't live without your heart. You can't live without your kidneys. You can't live without your lungs. So overuse or over consumption of these drugs will have a lot of effects on these organs. Then we have hormone imbalances, where you will have effects such as psychosis, you'll be delusional, you'll be paranoid, you'll have some paranoia, you'll have some mood issues because your hormones are not balanced because they are imbalanced due to the effects of these drugs. And also these drugs, some of these drugs will cause cancer. This includes tobacco, this includes bang, this includes majority of these drugs normally causes some of these cancers. Then we have prenatal and fertility issues. If you're dealing with a man, if you're dealing with a woman who is pregnant, if you're dealing with a woman who is pregnant and still abusing these drugs, definitely the harmful effects will not only be felt by the mother, but will be transferred to the unborn child. You also have fertility issues. Some of these drugs will have effect on the fertility level of these individuals. Then we have gastrointestinal diseases, and some of the effects of these drugs is on the gastrointestinal tract. So once this gastrointestinal tract integrity have been compromised, definitely you'll have some intestinal diseases. Then we have HIV being passed because you're not able, you're confused. When you abuse some of these drugs in areas or in places that is not safe, you can be raped. You're also, your mind reasoning is also affected. So you might find yourself being involved in rape and many other sexual misconduct. Sharing of needles when you're injecting yourself together with your friends can also cause the spread of these infections. Then, in addition to the above medical concerns, chronic use of certain substances can lead to long-term neurological impairment. Once your brain, together with the neurons or the nervous system has been affected, definitely you'll be or you live a very you live a very uncomfortable life. Because, for example, if the nerves supplying the hands are affected, your hands will not function properly. If the nerves supplying your legs, supplying your organs will be impaired or will be affected, will be compromised, definitely you'll have some issues with your organ. If the spinal cord will be affected, because remember the spinal cord carries a lot of these nerves, it will be affected. Definitely you live a very uncomfortable life and you might even die due to this. Then you have some neurological and emotional effects of substance abuse. We have depression, you have anxiety, we have memory loss, we have aggression. Being aggressive is not bad when you have, but when you have excess of it, definitely it should affect yourself. Then we have mood swings, we have paranoia. So these are some of the neurological effects you might suffer when abusing these drugs. Some of the most legal consequences of addictions are probation and arrest records that make it difficult to find a job. Definitely when your employer finds that you normally abuse, you are an addict of drug abuse, of marijuana abuse, of cocaine abuse, they might feel not comfortable to even employ you, because they might find that maybe you'll pass this addiction to the other employees, or you might not function appropriately, even if you are a recovered drug addict. Sorry. Then we have driver license suspensions. There is not any government that will allow you to drive under the influence of some of these drugs. Remember the effects of this drug that we've already seen. So if the drugs is causing some drowsiness, if the drug is causing some impaired judgment, or even impaired reasoning, it's causing some mood swing to a person, definitely they might lead to accidents. So large fines, you may be fined because you are using cocaine. If you're fined using cocaine, definitely you'll be jailed. You'll be fined. If you're found using marijuana, you'll have to be jailed, because you can also be the source of other people issues. Then extensive jail sentences, strict community services requirements. So for a community to accept to live with you among themselves, you have to be a straight person. Otherwise, majority of this community discourages the use of some of these drugs. Then addiction may negatively also affect your life through job loss. You're sacked because you are abusing alcohol. You are coming to job when you're under the influence of alcohol. You are coming to job because under the influence of bang, such that you're not functioning as you're supposed to function, or you're not doing your work as you're supposed to do your work. So majority of these job owners or your employers will sack you. Then another one is relationship changes between both friends and family members. No one we want to be associated with a drug addict, whether it come to friends, whether it comes also to family members. When you are an addict, you'll be even discriminated by your own people, by your own family members. Then lastly, we have divorces, where there is no one who will be comfortable to have a spouse that is an addict of a lot of these drugs. Because remember also the effects of these drugs. So you're giving burden to your spouse, you're giving burden in terms of they're not feeling safe around you. You end up sometimes even beating them or even killing them. So due to this, a lot of divorces are caused by drug abuse. So that forms the end of this lecture, unless you have any question, Bakisa. So do you have any question concerning what we've covered today? Okay, so we can call it a day and then let's meet next week for the same. So have I given you an assignment? Let me look whether I've given you an assignment, and if I'm not, I'll give you today. So I'll give you 2 weeks for you to do that assignment, and then we can continue. So have a lovely week. Let's meet next week.